All right. Going through trade I took today on, let me turn this off, on 16th of August. It was a small loss, very, very small loss. I think like point 0.2 R or something like that. But it shouldn't have been a loss at all. I should have just stayed in the trade. And I didn't trust myself enough with it. And I didn't follow my rules. So yeah, very disappointing. Very, 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 very disappointing. But yeah, let's break it down. So what I was looking at was I kind of expected us to going into the day. I was kind of expecting us to go potentially higher to take out this weekly target, which is what we were looking at for the entire week to push on up. We didn't get quite reach there yet. Probably won't reach there in the afternoon session, if I'm being honest. But obviously we were extremely bullish, right, for the last couple of days. So I was kind of expecting maybe some form of a TGIF setup. So if I go down to, actually, let me go on the hour. It's a little easier to see that. Yeah. So if I go down to the hour chart, I can see that this is my low right here. This is my high right here. All right. Low on Monday, high on Friday. So I take my little Fibonacci, go from the low to the high, like so, put it on TGIF, and here we are. So pre-market, we 8 o'clock, we tap in to the 20% level. So coming into 9:30, I'm like, okay, tapped into the 20%, looks as though we're respecting it. We're more than likely gonna go up. I have this one marked out here because I thought it was the first line of defense, but actually, there's a very tiny, 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 tiny FEG in there. Boom. So this is really our first line of defense. And Gio brought that to my attention on the live call this morning. So yeah, come into it, we respect the TGIF. We clearly respect the FBG. So I'm like, okay, cool. What can I do to potentially get in this trade? How is price gonna move for me to get into this trade? So what I saw was on the 5 minute, we came into, we had an inverse FEG here, and we had an FEG after a form of a sweep of liquidity here. And you actually see it very, very clearly on the 1 minute. There's another sweep of liquidity, which is kind of how I actually got in. So we have our sweep of liquidity here. We break out. In my mind, I'm like, okay, cool. Now we're kind of like solidifying ourselves bullish. Now it's just a matter of how can I get in? Is price going to deliver in a way in which I'll be able to get in? That's how I'm looking at it. Um, yes or no, we do not have a market structure shift as yet. We don't have an SMB, we don't have an ISP failure. We don't get a change in state of delivery until this point here. It's at 9:50. So we don't get any of those things just yet, but I'm not looking here on the 5 minute. I just know that as of right now, I should be bullish. What is going to deliver for me on a lower time frame? So what do I see? I see that on the 1 minute we have now we have shifted, right? We have our SMB. Boom. Price pushes up, comes in again, pushes higher yet again. But then we get this candle at 9:30. 9:30 manipulates. That's how I'm viewing it. 9:30 is manipulating. We have our low of the day probably set from 8:30, 8, 9 in here. So my everything for me is checking out. Everything's making sense for how I like to trade. So at this point, I'm like, okay, cool. Here is my low. This is my manipulation range to my high. Standard deviations. On Fridays, I only take it to the two, because I just don't expect it to travel further than the two on a Friday. And I'm not holding over the weekend. I'd rather just not. I don't know what these gaps are gonna do. So yeah, so I'm really looking to target the two. So how can I get in a trade? That's how I'm thinking right now. Um, so my first rule is we have to have some form of manipulation. Check. Boom. Second rule, um, I would prefer, well, I guess 1A and 1B is I want it to be the low or the high of the day, preferably. If not, it has to be some form of manipulation. Rule number two, I have to have some form of a target, which we do have in the form of the manipulation range. Rule three, no entries before 9:45. So I actually put a line on the chart to signify when 9:45 is. Boom. 9:45 is here. So once this candle prints, I'm like, all right, cool. Now it's fair game for me to look for entries. I have my manipulation. I have the higher low of the day down here. I have um a target. Now it's a matter of me of being able to get in. So what I waited for was if it is that we are indeed bullish, then I should be able to get in off the inverse FEG here. Or to be honest, I probably could have waited for the change of state of delivery here, hopped in there, stopped below the low, and be completely fine. I didn't do that. I don't know why I didn't do that. But I did. So I struggled a little bit with my limit. So I actually got in. I got in at 19 somewhere. I got in somewhere around here. Didn't get my get in down there. I got in somewhere around there. My stop was somewhere like this. I was covering this low. Right. And a little bit lower than that. Why am I covering this low? This is the low that put in the high, so this should be an ISB and should technically be respected. Price clearly came in, swept that. If I'm expecting us to go higher, this low, it should now be our type 1 to go higher. And what price doesn't go lower, well, in my studies, price doesn't tend to go lower than the point that was swept. So this point is the point that was swept. Price doesn't go lower than 8. And that is how I've been doing it for forever. Now, so we have our target. So target is 2 standard deviations, as we said over here. Boom. So this is about a 2-hour trade, right? 2.3-hour trade. Cool. No issues. Where my issue came in is I got all this trade. Why did I get out? I got out here. Oh, sorry, on this candle when price broke back through this inverse FEG. I should not have done that. I should have trusted my trade. To the point that we just keep pushing up. And I also did have another confluence, which was the 5-minute inverse FEG over here. Yes, it is a little bit lower, but price just came back in and tapped it to go again. And if we look on the 5-minute, you can actually see. Oops. There we go. What the hell was that? Oh, technical difficulties. You gotta love it. You gotta friggin' love it. I don't know what the hell's going on. Wait, what? Hold on a second, people. What the fuck is going on? How did that even happen? Wait, what? Oh, wait, what's this thing? Okay. Yo, I don't know what that was. Apologies, apologies, apologies. So yeah, back on the 5-minute. We clearly we're respecting this inverse FEG, right? All the wicks are going below it, yes, but we're not getting any closes below. And that was the original trade idea. Well, it's the original reason I started to look at the trade. Um, right. So yeah, that's what I saw. Now on the 1-minute, yes, price came really close back to my entry. But price did not. Not my stop, sorry. Came really close back to my stop, but price did not take my stop. And if we actually follow this inverse FEG all the way across, price respects it very beautifully, right? Very beautifully. No breaks below. So this is how I would prefer it to look the whole time. I would prefer it not to break through. Um, and that's something I'm gonna look at obviously in the weeks to come. Through ICT, a couple YouTube videos on how to use inverse FEGs properly and where the stops should go, blah blah blah. But yeah, this is a really disappointing trade for that reason in terms of when I got out. So let me see if I can turn on executions. Can y'all see it? No, maybe order executions. I think I did what I was supposed to do. I'm not sure why they're not popping up, but yeah, I lost 44 bucks on this trade today. Oh, maybe because it's a different chart. I don't know. But yeah, this was my trade today. So I got in somewhere over here and I got out on this particular candle when it started pushing up a little bit. I got out small loss, but it's not the loss that matters. It's not the loss that's affecting me right now. It's more of or affecting me, that's not the right word. It's not the loss that is put me in the wall of shame. It's more of the I didn't trust my stop loss placement, even though I knew that through backtesting that thing will hold. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with it.